Member for Hinchinbrook, I think you had some unparliamentary language in your contribution. I just asked you withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you, member. I call the member for Burleigh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak in strong support of the Making Queensland Safer Adult Crime, Adult Time Amendment Bill 2025, a critical second tranche of reforms that honours the commitment we made to Queenslanders to take back control of our streets and restore community safety. At its heart, this bill is about righting a wrong, and that wrong is the legacy of inaction, delay and misplaced priorities under the former Labor government. For over a decade, Labor systematically weakened the Youth Justice Act, making detention a last resort, abolishing breach of bail and elevating the rights of offenders over the rights of victims. The result was absolutely predictable and the result was devastating. From Burleigh to Palm Beach, from Burleigh Waters to Varsity Lakes, I hear it every day. Enough is enough. These are not just the voices of frustration, Mr. Speaker. They are the lived experiences of residents whose cars have been stolen, whose homes have been violated, and whose peace of mind has been absolutely shattered. Mr. Speaker, these are not just isolated incidents. They reflect a system that has allowed youth offenders to act with impunity, emboldened by soft laws and even softer consequences. Under Labor, youth crime became a crisis and my community paid the price. That is why the LNP made community safety a cornerstone of our election platform. That is why we are delivering on our Making Queensland Safer plan. And that is why we are legislating clearly, decisively and without apology. The adult crime, adult time framework is more than just a phrase. It is a commitment, a commitment to the victims of crime, a commitment to our police, a commitment to Queenslanders who deserve to feel safe again in their homes, in their cars and in their streets. This bill expands the original list of offences to include additional serious crimes, among them rape, torture, arson, attempted murder, kidnapping and the endangerment of emergency services personnel. These are not petty offences. They are grave, violent and in some cases life-altering or life-taking. And yet, until now, the penalties for youth offenders committing these crimes have not matched the severity of their actions. Well, Mr. Speaker, that changes today. Mr. Speaker, this bill is not just tough, it is smart, and it's been informed by the work of the expert legal panel, which brought together voices across the sector. Their work was clear. These offences are serious and they demand serious consequences. This bill also makes meaningful improvements for victims, allowing them to nominate a third party to receive updates about a youth offender's custody status. Now, some argue it's a small administrative change, but I tell you, this is one that gives victims more control over how and when they receive potentially triggering information. It's about dignity, it's about humanity, and Mr. Speaker, in only the way the LNP can do, it's about putting victims first. Yes. We also recognise the critical role of our frontline responders. Under this bill, we are adding new offences specifically to protect police and emergency workers from being targeted with vehicles, an increasing and deeply, deeply disturbing trend. No more half measures. This government stands squarely with those who protect and serve our community. Mr. Speaker, under Labor, we saw cost blowouts in youth detention infrastructure, endless delays in the courts and reactive lawmaking that followed only after tragedy. This is not how we govern. We act before crisis becomes calamity. We plan, we consult, and then we deliver.
Yep.
Now, some critics raise concerns about human rights, but let's be clear. The most fundamental human right is the right to safety, the right to walk in the streets of Palm Beach without fear, the right to send your children to school in Burleigh Waters without looking over your shoulder, the right to enjoy quality family time in Frescott Park without being stalked by intimidating groups, the right to a safe night out with your mates in Burleigh Heads. These rights have been ignored for far too long, and this bill restores them just as we promised. Mr. Speaker, this legislation sends a simple but very, very powerful message. If you commit an adult crime, you will serve adult time.
Yep.
There will be consequences, not excuses, not hand-wringing, consequences. And this message is not just to the offenders. It is a message for every victim who felt ignored by the former Labor government. It is for every police officer, every single police officer who faced the same repeat offender for the third or fourth time. It is for every Queenslander who has wondered whether the system still works for them. Mr. Speaker, this is what justice looks like. This is what safety will look like, and this is what leadership looks like. I am proud to be part of the LNP Crisafulli government, who will restore safety where we live and stand in strong opposition and in contrast to those opposite, who in this chamber have been gaslighting the victims of crime in Queensland, adding insult to injury as if their laws were not the cause of the problem. How insulting. How insulting to victims, rubbing salt in their wounds. We stand in contrast to that approach because we stand with victims, victims who we will look after and whose numbers we will reduce because our laws will have consequences just as we promised. Thank you.
I call the member for Hill.
Mr.